Hey guys, my name's Kat, and today I thought I'd answer another one of the really common questions that we get asked about design sprints, which is, do I need a design sprint? And that's a really important question to ask yourself. One of the things that we found with the sort of rise of interest in design sprints over the last few years is that sometimes people don't ask themselves if they need a design sprint. They just kind of assume that they do and jump right in. And so when you're asking that question, that's a really good question, and it's really important to stop and think about whether this is actually the right tool for you. Because at the end of the day, it's a big investment in time, it's a big investment in terms of the people that you're putting in the room, and so it's important to understand if it's actually going to get you the outcome that you're looking for. And if it's not a problem. There's a bunch of other ways that you can solve that problem. But design sprints are specifically good for a few things. And so what I thought I'd do is just run through some of those that you can think to yourself, do any of those actually apply to me? And if so, maybe a design sprint is the right solution. So what are the kinds of things that design sprints are good for? Well, firstly, design sprints were essentially designed to help answer questions. That's their sort of bread and butter, that's where they came from. And so the first thing that design sprints are really good for is answering a very specific question. And we usually write that question in the form of, how might we? So for example, how might we reduce the number of people who sign up and then never come back? How might we increase customer engagement with a particular feature? Or how might we reduce our cost in terms of the way that we process applications, for example? I'm just making these all up, but you can see that design sprints are great for answering questions. Because what you do is you say, okay, this is the question that I have. Now I'm going to go out and do some research. So I'm going to talk to some users about how they feel about this question. What is it that's stopping them from engaging with that particular feature? What is it that is taking so long with our applications that's costing us more money? So we go out and get all that information, and then we go through the design sprint process of saying, okay, well, let's be creative in terms of coming up with solutions to this problem, and then let's test them at the end. So if you have a well-defined, clear problem that you're trying to solve, a design sprint might be the right solution for you. The other thing that we use design sprints for here at Pixel Fusion quite often is for validating an existing idea. So if you have a hypothesis for how you might solve a problem, but you're not sure if it's the right solution, you're not sure if users are going to respond well to that solution or like that solution, you're not sure if the solution is actually legitimately going to have the business outcome that you're looking for, then that's another really good use for a design sprint. So in that case, you're not starting with a problem, you're starting with a hypothetical solution and then validating it. And we do that a lot, especially with early stage startups. So a lot of the time, if you're in the early stages of a startup, you have an idea. That's usually where your startup comes from. And a lot of the time, you haven't had the opportunity to actually validate that idea. So very, very often when we run design sprints with startups, it's this sort of hypothetical solution validation that we do, and it works really well. The other thing that we often use design sprints for is creating alignment and helping companies prioritize. So when this comes into play, what we're often talking about is something like a website. So say you're a small to medium company and you've decided that you need a new website. What often happens is that there's a lot of players in that project, and they all have their own opinions and their own ideas and their own priorities for the website. So the HR people want to make sure that hiring is on the front page, and the marketing people want to make sure that the brand is represented well on the front page, and the CEO wants his photo front and center on the homepage. So you can see how it can become very difficult for companies to actually get that sort of prioritization and alignment on what that website actually needs to look like. So doing a design sprint is a great way to put everybody in the room and take them all on the same journey. So they all hear the same things from users, they all see the same things in the user testing, and they all collaborate on the solution. And that sets a much more stable foundation for prioritizing and making decisions going forward. So that's another great use for design sprints. And the fourth one is to help you get traction. So a lot of the time, if you have a pet project inside of your business that you're trying to move forward gradually and slowly, and maybe it's not the core part of your role, maybe it's something you're trying to do outside of your role, it can be really hard to get momentum. It can be really hard to move that thing forward in any kind of significant way. And so what a design sprint is really great for is taking 4 or 5 days out of your sort of day-to-day life to really make an enormous amount of progress in a short period of time. So if you need to really show that you've moved the project forward, you need to show some learnings, you need to show some progress, and you need to convince people that this is a valuable thing to keep doing, a design sprint is perfect for that, because at the end of it, you get real validated learnings and a real tangible MVP of some, not an MVP, a prototype of some description to show to someone. And that's really, really powerful and really valuable. So those are sort of the 4 main reasons that we would do a design sprint, and the 4 main things that design sprints are really good for: solving problems, validating an idea, gaining traction and progress and momentum, and creating alignment.